Hello Story Chasers, this is Amber, and this video is the 10 things that I hate about van life. I know, I'm always showing kind of the good side, although I do show my experience sometimes when it's not so pleasant. So there's about 10 things that I wish were different, but it's not. So I'm going to go through those with you guys today. It's definitely not all rainbows and unicorns out there like some people might portray with hashtag van life. I'm not out there hanging my butt out the backside of the door with this beautiful sunrise or beautiful sunset, and I certainly don't cook all of my meals half naked, but there are definitely some downsides to van life, and I just want to show you all of those. So if you're deciding to go into van life or even RV life, you kind of have some information to be armed with so that you can figure out the best rig for you and how to mitigate some of these issues. Alright guys, let's get started. Also, you might see behind me some beautiful trees and some smoke. That smoke is from some forest fire around here. I am in Colorado. I left Leadville, Colorado just recently. I'm headed to the Tetons, so that's going to also be part of this video, is my travel to the Tetons and the 10 things about van life that I hate. Alright guys, let's get started. One of the number one issues that I hate about van life is the lack of water to take a shower. And when I say a shower, an unlimited hot shower. Our tanks are a little smaller. I have 23 gallons. If I wanted to take a shower every day, I would have to literally go fill up with city water probably every 2 to 3 days to keep filling the tank up. And then that's even if I did a military shower, and that's if I even had a real shower, which I don't. It's a wet bath. It doesn't work that well. I've never really used it. So what do? I wash in my kitchen sink. So I wash my hair in my kitchen sink. I bathe in my kitchen sink. I do all of that in my kitchen sink. And when I want to take an actual shower, I typically will go to a gym or an aquatic center or someplace like that that has a shower. Now, with everything going on with the pandemic, some of these things have been closed, so it's been a little bit more difficult to find places to take a shower, but I still manage to make it work. So what does that mean for me sometimes when I don't take a shower all the time? Well, I'm clean, I'm just not under a shower head, but my feet get dirty a lot because I'm out in nature. I'm walking around in flip-flops, I'm walking around in my shoes, my tennis shoes, sometimes I go barefoot, and so my feet get really dirty. And that's the one thing that I wish I could get in the shower and just wash off like every day, but otherwise I make it work. I get a little bucket, I fill it with some hot water by heating it up on the stove and clean my feet off. So one of the things that I hate about van life, I do miss my hot showers and unlimited hot showers and not doing a military shower. But it doesn't keep me from doing what I'm doing. So number 2 on the list of things that I hate about van life is the black tank. The black tank is small. It's a cassette toilet actually, and it only holds 4.6 gallons. And in the beginning I thought that the cassette toilet was going to be amazing because you can dump it anywhere that there's a toilet. Pit toilets, toilet in a house, the actual dump station where I'm at now. But the problem is if you want to boondock for very long, you can't do it without having a backup. So, or you have to go into town to go dump everything. So I have found a different way, and that is to use a jerry can that I take with me. It almost triples the capacity of the cassette toilet by carrying this jerry can with me, and that way I can stay out and boondock longer. So that's something that you'll want to think about whenever you buy an RV or go into van life or RV life, whatever it is. You want to check the black tank and understand how long you're going to boondock. Alright, I'll show you what I'm talking about right now. This is the jerry can, and this is the cassette toilet. So you see, that's why you either need a bigger tank or you need to have the backup jerry can if you have a small black tank. You could get a composting toilet, which I've thought about doing, but that would mean that I need to do a little remodeling, so we might hold off on that until next year unless I get my truck camper, but that remains to be seen. So one of the other things that I hate about van life is leaving my van in a parking lot. Why? Because it's my house. Everything that I have, that I own, is in this place. And if it gets stolen or broken into, it gives me anxiety to think about it. So I do have some things that I do to protect myself and hopefully deter that from happening. Let me show you. So I just went into the grocery store and you can see I have a club that I put on my wheel, and I also have these WeatherTech blinds up, or covers if you will. I put the WeatherTech shades up there so that people cannot see inside the van for two reasons. One, they can't see anything inside here. They don't know if I'm in here or not. So if they don't know that I'm in here, they may not actually break in and take anything. I put the club on there to deter people from actually being able to steal it. It just makes it more difficult. And then of course I have Lily in here. I don't want people to see that Lily is in here and think that it's too hot or something and break the window and try to get her out. So I use those as deterrents to make sure that people don't break in. Now, can that happen? Of course. There are ways around everything, but the point is to deter them as much as possible. So that's one of the things I hate about van life, is the anxiety that comes with potentially having your van and everything inside your home stolen or broken into. By the way, the WeatherTechs, I'm not fond of them at all. They worked really well for the first couple of months, but then they started to shrink or something and don't really fit into the window very well. Take a look. See how it's gapping right there? Yeah, that happens on all of them. Over here too. So I'm actually having some custom made, and I'll show you those when I get them, but I think they're gonna be a lot better. They're actually magnetic around the edges. It'll help to keep the windows covered a lot more, and again, deter anybody from being able to see in. All right guys, on to the next one. All right. So, I will tell you the number 4 thing that I hate about van life. It's not this view. This view is amazing. I got situated over here by Teton National Park. Those are the Tetons over there. It's beautiful here. So that is not what I hate. What I hate is what we call the van life shuffle. So you get situated in your spot, which I have. By the way, it took me like forever because I'm on an incline. And you come inside and you have to move everything around. All the stuff that moved around while you were driving, and then the stuff that you have to throw on your bed when you don't want it to be on your countertop. So first of all, I have this. Look, my jeans fell off from up here because it was a washboard road. I've got my WeatherTechs that I need to put up here, which I need to do really quick right now. So WeatherTechs are up, and then we have the rest of the stuff that's back here. So this usually goes up here, but it moves, it hits this, it bangs around while I'm driving. I have this is my induction cooktop that actually comes up here on the counter. I've got my bread, all the stuff that I put over here on my bed, which by the way has to be moved when I go to sleep. So I'll just keep this stuff over here until I go to sleep, and then my beautiful cast iron skillet that does not have a home. So there's all that. Then, let's see. My shirt here does not usually reside on the countertop, but I had it sitting up here where it wouldn't wrinkle, and it fell promptly down there into Lily's water. And then we've got all this stuff over here that needs to be moved around as well. So these are things that don't always have a permanent home when you're driving. You have to like put them in corners and things like that when you're stationary. So a lot of that stuff just kind of goes in the floorboard of the driver's seat, the water bottles, things like that. I don't want them under the counter. So that's the van life shuffle. Number 4 thing I hate. And then I have to do it all over again. Every time I move, I have to move all that stuff. Every time I go to bed, I have to move all the stuff off my bed. Could I be better at having a better space or less stuff maybe? Probably. But I'm going to renovate this van potentially if I don't buy that truck camper and actually make better use of the space so I don't have to do so much van life shuffle. But guys, what do you think about that view? Yeah, that kind of makes van life shuffle pretty cool. Number 5 thing I hate about van life is, what if you have a mechanical failure or you need to do a repair? Where do you live when that happens? Well, some shops will let you stay in your van, depending on the shop, depending on the severity of the issue. Other times you might have to actually get a hotel room or stay with friends or something like that. And this is your home. Everything is in it. So if it breaks down because your motor is attached to your home, you're going to have to figure out where to live. And so that can fill you with a little bit of anxiety because everything you own is in there and it's your house and you're concerned about other people driving your home. There have been people, when you take it to the mechanics, that you actually come back with more damage because of the way they drove it. So that's number 5 reason why I hate van life. Number 6 is you're constantly cleaning. There's dirt in here all the time because you're going in and out of the dirt from your campsite. You have your shoes on, I have a dog, and the wind blows dust constantly into your rig because you have the doors open. You want to experience the outdoor beauty. So while you get to experience the beauty, you also get to experience the dirt. So I have a Dyson little handheld vacuum that I use to clean, and I just use a wet rag to dust everything off. So I'm constantly cleaning, probably 2 to 3 times a day. But you know, it's just one of the things you have to live with in van life. The number 7 thing I hate about van life is noisy neighbors. I left a neighborhood community because I wanted to RV, and sometimes my neighbors were noisy when you're in a master plan community. And the last thing I want is to come out to a beautiful place like this and experience noisy neighbors, which happens. Sometimes you have the weekenders who come out and, you know, they want to have fun. I understand. Not a big deal, but they're a little noisier than I would like sometimes. And they also tend to sometimes run generators, and generators are no fun. I don't want to be around them. I have solar. I wish everybody would get solar. Generators, no, don't like them. I understand people have to have them occasionally, but if you don't have to have them, why have them? You want to come out to beauty and experience the beauty and the peace and the quiet, and you don't want to hear a noisy generator. So that's my number 7 part I hate about van life is noisy neighbors. It's one of the reasons I also don't urban camp as much anymore, because the more I boondock in beautiful, beautiful places like this, the less I want to be around all those people and all that noise. All right, so the number 8 reason why I hate van life is my workspace sucks. So this is my workspace. I have my driver chair and this small little table. And as you can see, my computer does not fit on the table that well when I'm sitting at it. So when I'm sitting at it, this is exactly straight on right now for me. So it overhangs the table. Well, this table actually pops out, but it's, you know, I've said this before, it actually is problematic to take this table, pull it out this direction, and then it gets in the way over here. So the other problem is my chair is not ergonomically correct. Not for me. And with the tight space that this is, and having a chair that's not really conducive to working as much as I do in this type of environment, it's my number, I should have made this my number 1 reason for not liking van life, is the tight space for this. I really need a more ergonomically correct situation for my workspace. So maybe that's another thing I do whenever I renovate my van, if I don't get that truck camper. So that's my number 8 reason for hating van life. It's tight spaces sometimes, and it really just depends on how the van is set up. Mine I thought would be really great, but with my back issues and quite frankly getting older, it just makes me a little bit more stiff. And so what I tend to do to kind of combat that is I will use this countertop here and use it as a standing desk. So what I typically will do is I will set my alarm for 30 minutes and I will sit for 30 minutes and then stand for 30 minutes at the countertop. So that's kind of how I combat the situation and overcome it. So it's not all bad, but I just wish it were different. All right, so my number 9 reason for hating van life is if you get sick, it can be super problematic to throw up in that cassette toilet. I'll tell you why. So this actually happened to me when I was in Mexico 2 years ago. I was sick the very first time I went there. It had nothing to do with water, the food, nothing. It was the very first day I was there. So I apparently brought it with me, but it was a stomach bug and I had to throw up constantly. Nothing is worse than putting your head in the cassette toilet and having to throw up, and the stench that comes from the bottom of that toilet is disgusting. Here's the reason why. The flap that sits into the bottom of the toilet, you move this lever back and forth to let your waste go down into the cassette tank. You're directly staring down into your own feces. It is disgusting, and the smell is bad, and you're already sick. You're already throwing up. That smells. You're already sick to your stomach, and it just makes you even more sick to your stomach. So you might say, well, you don't have to open the flap up. It still stinks, guys. It still stinks. So if you had a composting toilet, I don't know what you do. Maybe the thing is to actually just get a waste basket and throw up in that with a plastic bag. So that's just the throwing up part. But being sick inside the van, if you have the flu or anything where you just don't feel like getting up and down, you have to sit, back in that bed, which that bed isn't bad. But for me, I have to use a step stool to get up and down because I'm too short to get up and down from that thing. And then just being in such a tight space, and if you don't have anybody to help you, it just makes the whole thing worse. So in that situation, if you're really, really sick, it might be better to go and get a hotel room. And part of the problem too is that I've had this happen to me once before where I did have the flu. It was my first year of van life, and I was in Quartzsite. It was really warm, and that's the last thing you want, being really hot and sick and then having to move your van. And so you really just have to do a little bit more than you would have to if you were in a home and you could just rest easily. So that's the number 9 reason why I would hate van life. So again, these things, or you can mitigate them. There's things that you can do, but these are just things that you have to think about when you go into this lifestyle. All right, so my last reason for hating van life, number 10, is weather. So if the weather is really bad, super rainy or super cold, you have to be in your van. You don't want to go outside in it. Mostly it's when it's raining. When it's cold outside, you can just bundle up and go outside. But when it's raining, you're not outside a lot, especially if it's raining really hard, and you have to be stuck inside of the van. So when you're stuck in the van, you get a little bit of cabin fever. You want to get out. Part of van life is actually living in nature. So we have this sliding door that's open. It really opens up the home and, allows you to be outside. And so when you can't do that, you feel a little claustrophobic inside here, especially because there's not a couch for you to just lay down on, and there's the bed, and you get tired of laying in the bed all the time. You sleep in it, and if you're going to use it to lounge around or work in, it gets a little claustrophobic and you get some cabin fever. The other thing is that right now with the pandemic, some people are having to actually quarantine. And my friend Scott, who you guys met when we were in Baja, he actually is Canadian and had to go back to Canada, and he had to quarantine inside of his van for 14 days. Could not take his dog out for a walk. He had to let his dog out on the sidewalk and let him come back in to go to the bathroom. He wasn't allowed to go outside and walk around in Canada. And so he had to quarantine in his van. He has the same van that I do. And he had to quarantine in there, and it was miserable from what he says. It was total cabin fever. So something else you need to think about. Whoever thought we would be in a pandemic and having to deal with this situation, but here we are. So that's something else to think about when you go into van life. All right, so that is my top 10 reasons why I hate van life. But let me tell you guys something. Van life, those are just things that you have to consider if you're going to do van life. Does it keep me from doing it? Heck no, I love doing this life. Van life is absolutely amazing in so many ways. I mean, look at this view. I've got these beautiful flowers behind me. I've got the Teton Mountains back here. I mean, it's just incredible. So, the positives outweigh the negative, completely outweighs the negative. So, again, these things can be mitigated and overcome. These are just things for you to think about when you are deciding to van life or RV life, whichever one you want to do. A lot of them are very similar. So this was the top 10 things that I hate about van life. The next video you're going to see is the top 10 things that I love about van life. There are a lot of things that I love about it. So we're going to balance this out and show you the things that I love as well. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this and learned something from it. If you did, hit that thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, you should really hit that subscribe button right there. It's a pretty cool button to hit. Yeah. My channel is growing. I love connecting with all of you guys and teaching all of you guys about RV life, van life. I just also wanted to let you guys know that my Nomad Mentorship Bootcamp is still open. You guys can connect with me on there. We have live video calls every single month. There's 8 modules for you to go through if you want to learn more about how to travel full-time, how to figure out what kind of a rig that you want to actually purchase, whether it's a van, a truck, camper, Class A. I also teach you how to finance this lifestyle if you need to find a remote job or if you want to start your own business. So click the button below to get started. There's also a free masterclass there you can take ahead of time if you'd like. Join the free masterclass, then come join us in the Nomad Mentorship Bootcamp. We'll see you over there, and I will see you on our live video calls. By the way, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit that button right there. It's a great button. Just hit it, hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell to be notified every time I come out with a new video, which is on Sundays and Thursdays currently. And what else? Oh, share this video. If you think someone else will enjoy it and wants to learn more about van life, just click the share button and send it over to them. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video, which is the 10 things that I love about van life. Bye, guys.